Skinny guys have a poor understanding, and to be honest, a poor relationship with food. I'm going to cover some of the harshest realities that you need to face if you want to gain weight. And hopefully this video is a wake-up call so you can start taking steps in the right direction. So number one, that one time doesn't count. That one time you ate half a pizza, a whole box of Osmos, whatever it is, man. That one time you ate something that felt really big, large, a large amount of food, that one time doesn't count for anything. It doesn't mean anything. Chances are that was the only thing that you ate all day. And even if it wasn't, any kind of one-time thing, one-off event is not going to determine whether or not you're a carb gainer or whether or not you're able to gain weight or not. It's an outlier for a reason. You remember it for a reason. And it's not because you did it every day. All right, number two. You eating so much food is probably just meals that aren't even 1,000 calories. Sometimes I look at what skinny guys consider so much food, and it's just a regular plate of food. Like obviously it's a full plate of food, but it's nothing big, it's nothing special. There's so much food, it's like 700 calories, 700 calorie plate of food. It's like, it's not so much food. It's just like, it's an average meal, it's a normal meal. It's like, congratulations, man, you ate like an average person for once. That's not so much food, that's just an average amount of food. So much food is when you fill that plate 3 times in one sitting. That's so much food. Eating a normal average plate of food that's not even 1,000 calories is not so much food. All right, number 3, just because you eat junk and don't gain weight does not mean that you're a hard gainer. So even if you eat pizza, burgers, fries, drink all the beer you want, whatever you say, just because you do all those things and don't gain weight does not mean you're a hard gainer. Those two things are not related at all. What's probably happening is you're not really eating anything all day, and then suddenly, okay, there's like this pizza which you kind of like, or this burger which you kind of like if you like take off all the condiments and all the vegetables and stuff. If you do that, and that's like the one thing you eat all day, congratulations, you ate unhealthy, but it doesn't mean that you're a hard gainer. Number 4, the fact that you're eating it doesn't count for anything. It's only about how much you're having. So some people will say, oh, I ate rice and chicken, or I ate steak, or I ate, this, that, pasta, egg, whatever. The fact that you ate it doesn't matter at all. It's only about how much you eat. That's what's going to matter when it comes to whether or not you're going to gain weight or not. Number 5, eating a bunch of different foods doesn't mean that you ate so much food. It just means that you had a variety. So I had this actually with one of my clients. I asked them to send me pictures of everything they ate in a day, and they sent me like 6 or 7 different photos. And they're like, yeah, I ate all this food. But you look at the food and it's like, again, like the plates are just maybe like 2 or 3 meals of like 600-700 calories, and then a bunch of snacks which are like maybe 200 calories, 250 calories. And you can tell like they put a lot of effort, they're proud of it. They made the pictures look kind of aesthetic. It's like, nice snack, oatmeal, whatever. Plate of rice and chicken, whatever. But the thing is, the variety of food does not really matter. It's not about the amount of variety that you have in your meals and your diet. It's about how much you actually eat. The only thing that really matters is the amount. When I bulked up, I might have only eaten 2 very large meals of 2 different kinds of food. That was like all of my calories for the whole day. So it's kind of a common theme in this video, but the variety, the kind of food, those kind of things, they don't matter as much as how much you're actually having. You need to get that into your head. All right, number 6, you're probably a picky eater and it's hurting you more than you actually realize. So being a picky eater means that, you're being selective with your food. You don't like certain foods. You want to take stuff out of your burgers or, out of your Subway sandwich, whatever it is. And this is hurting you for so many different reasons. We're not gonna go too deep into it, but one, it's your relationship with food is completely wrong. You don't want to be someone who's nitpicky about food. You want to be someone who loves food, who will destroy everything in front of them. Number 2 is that if you're a picky eater, there's gonna be times where the kind of food that you want is not gonna be there, but the kind of food that you don't like but is available is right there, but you won't eat it, or you won't eat as much of it. And it might be several hours, it might be half a day before you can get to food that you actually do like. And so in that day, you might actually have 1 meal less or even half a meal less. You might not realize it, you might be like, oh, I'll just eat later. You have to realize that it doesn't always work out like that. You might miss out on the calorie intake more than you realize. And the third thing to mention is that you're just going to obviously eat less if you're picky. For example, like I said before, you're going to be taking stuff out of your burgers. One of my friends, if he eats a burger, he literally cannot have anything inside it other than ketchup. Like no lettuce, no onions, no tomatoes, pickles, nothing. He'd actually order a Big Mac and tell them put no sauce in it either. So it'd just be a plain Big Mac with bread, patty, bread. And he'd pay like $12 for it. I cannot explain what's going on in his head. And so obviously you're eating less. You're just eating a lot less food compared to someone who had everything in it. If you're a picky eater, you're someone who, you might not realize it. You might think, oh, I'm not a picky eater. I love food. But chances are, you're not finishing your plates. There's gonna be times where you're not finishing your plates. You're rejecting or refusing food because you don't like the way it tastes, or you don't like the texture, or you just want something different. And you just have to realize it's hurting you, and it's hurting you probably a lot more than you realize. Having a perfect diet day does not count for anything. So I've had this again with my clients where they actually did send pictures of their food, and it was actually like an adequate amount of food. Like you look at it, it's like, okay, big portions, right amount of calories, great. But the issue was that unless you can do that every single day, it doesn't really count. It's like the same thing as the one time. So I look at their pictures and it's like their plates are like well prepared. It's like full spread. Their snacks are also prepared. It's like refrigerated from the night before. They have like all these variety of snacks, variety of foods. That's great, but it looks like this is a high effort, time, thought, and effort into like preparing this food, creating the snacks. Can you do this every single day? Because yes, that was a perfect diet day. You had an abundance of food, you had a lot of variety, you had a lot of snacks, and that's great. But unless you can do it every single day, it doesn't really count. Like I said, for me, I only had maybe like 2 different kinds of food the whole day, and then maybe a few different snacks. Maybe once in a while I might have a day where it's like, yeah, I have like a lot of a high effort food. Maybe my mom like decided to be, cook lasagna or something. And so I'd have like a lot more food to experiment and play with. But I would still, as a baseline, the bare minimum, on every single day, I was still having, the abundance of rice and chicken, the abundance of whatever other food that I needed in order to see my growth. So having the perfect diet day, forget about that, because that's going to be very high effort. You want to have days that you can repeat on end, day after day, where you can consistently eat in a surplus. You feeling stuffed is because you don't know how to eat properly. So skinny guys, a lot of times they'll feel really full, or they feel really stuffed. They didn't really eat that much food, but to them it's like they ate the maximum amount of food. The reason for this, majority of the reason for this is that you eat very, very slowly. They'll take like one bite, then they'll wait like 20 minutes, then they'll take another bite. The reason for this is because they don't know how to eat properly. So when it comes to meals, they'll eat their meals extremely slowly. They're probably gonna get distracted, whether that be on their phone, whether it be talking with friends, looking up something cool on their computer. They get distracted, they have the new idea, new music they want to play, whatever it is. And this is a very common theme. Like I've noticed it with an abundance. I noticed it with pretty much all skinny guys I know, is that when we're eating with them, like I'll be eating and they'll just be like eating once and then like talking for like 5 minutes and eating once. And so yeah, when it comes to finishing a meal, they're going to be very slow at finishing that meal. But also when it comes to even their snacking habits, they might have one bite every 30 minutes. And so it's like you're not going to be hungry, bro. You're not going to be hungry enough at any point in the day to like actually eat a lot of calories, like eat out that 1,000 calorie meal even. You're just not going to have the appetite for that. And so yeah, I guess the 80-20 of this is just when you're eating, eat like diligently, like stay focused on your food. I wouldn't say like eat fast or like race to finish your food, but like eat diligently, like pretend you're like in an exam. If you're hungry, it should be like, I want to eat food. It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm gonna eat like 2 bites, okay, phone, oh, look at this TikTok my friend sent me. Or like you're gonna get in a conversation with your girlfriend or whatever it is, man. Just eat diligently. Number 9, we're kind of getting towards the end of this. But we said it before, one day in general doesn't mean anything. Outlier days don't count for anything. It's the same as like, when it comes to your effort versus consistency. You can go and have an extremely insane day in the gym, or even an extremely insane week in the gym. But if you don't stay consistent, it doesn't really count for anything. It's the same with your diet. One day, having a perfect diet, having a perfect day where you eat, the perfect amount of foods, the perfect variety of foods, or having that one day where you eat like just 5,000 calories or whatever, it doesn't really count. The other days you're eating like 2,000 or less. It's about consistency. It's about staying consistent, making those gains every day. It's what you do every day that counts, not that one. All right, number 10, hitting your protein, hitting your macros, your meal timings. Of course, meal timings can be good, but all of those don't really count for anything if you're not eating enough calories. That's one thing that you need to understand. It's actually a harsh truth. Your macros and your protein, if you don't eat enough food, you're not going to grow. It's as simple as that. Even if you hit your protein, yes, protein is the primary driver for muscle growth. But if you lack the raw materials, if you lack, the calories, you're just not going to grow. It cannot happen. Like physically, by physics, it cannot happen. So if you're trying to gain weight, if you're trying to grow, the calorie surplus needs to be the first and foremost thing that you need to be able to hit. Your macros, the fat, the carb. People are like so much worried about all these random other things. You need to stop worrying about those and just focus on the caloric surplus. That's what's going to make you hit that growth. Number 11 is, why are you eating clean? Why are you worrying about too many carbs, these kind of things? Why do people, skinny guys, do that? Do you understand the point of eating clean? Do you understand the point of people who restrict their carbs or go keto? You have to realize that's not a stage that you are at right now. If you're watching this video, if this video is for you, that's not something that you should be thinking about or worrying about. That's not the stage that you're at right now. And to be honest, thinking about those kind of things is going to hold you back from achieving your goals. Like I said in the last point, it's all about your calories. You want to be eating, the right amount of calories. And then yes, you want to be getting the protein after you're making sure you're getting the calories. Eating clean, restricting your diet, cutting carb. This is for cutting. This is for people who are getting to that last final phase of their their physique. Something maybe close to where I am right now. But it's not something that people who want to gain weight are looking to do. It's not something people who are trying to build muscle mass should be trying to do. If you're doing this and you're skinny, just stop. You're holding yourself back for no reason. Number 12 is, it might sound straightforward, but you can't be afraid of gaining weight. You can't be afraid of putting on fat. I think low key, a lot of skinny guys are afraid, low key, they're afraid of getting a little bit fat, especially in their stomach. You cannot be afraid of that. You have to do this fully committed. You have to do this knowing that you're going to gain muscle, you're going to gain fat, you're going to gain body weight. If you cannot accept that fact, then there's no point, you shouldn't, there's no point of, watching these videos, going to the gym and trying to gain muscle mass. You have to accept the reality. It's part of the process. It's not going to be as bad as you're making it out to be in your mind. You have to get over that mental block. You can't be afraid of putting on fat if you want to gain a serious amount of weight, if you want to gain muscle mass, if you want to get jacked. All right, guys, the bottom line is for this video, you're not eating as much as you think. You need to be eating more than you think, and that needs to be your primary focus of all of your concern. Not about having perfect diet days, your variety of foods, your macros, your proteins. The primary focus should be on just making sure that you can eat enough. All the other things, they might play a very small role, but I'm telling you, focusing on them is not the thing that you need to be doing right now. The thing that you need to be focusing on right now is making sure that you have a replicable way to make all of your calories every single day. And of course, you need to train hard to deserve growth. Anyways, with that being said, that's going to be the end of this long ass video. Check the link in the description if you want my personal guide. I will add an extra session in for each of my first few sales. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already, like the video if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.